Bring your hands together at the heart centre, and then for pat, just mentally bring your attention to the base of your spine, and mentally travel all the way up the spine, through the back of the neck, to the top of the head. And then from the top of the head, as you breathe out, go all the way down to the base of the spine. And then drop your hands, and for the spicy up bit, then come to the top of your mat. Inhale, exhale, hands together. Inhale, hands up. Breathing out, lower your hands, bend your knees, hands either side of your feet, and step your right foot back, kneel, your right knee down, left foot back, dipping in, cat, breathing out, chin to chest, cow, tuck your toes, and come into a soft downward dog, bending your knees and then extending your legs. Bend one knee and then the other knee. Walking the dog. Bend both knees back down to the mat. Hands to the left. Right foot up. Hands either side of the right foot. Inhaling, kneel up. Hands up above the head. Stretch your fingers and either look straight ahead or look up to your fingers. Breathing out, lower your hands either side of your right foot. Tuck your left toes, left knee up, and step left knee to right, left foot to right foot. Press your feet down as you roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing. And then raising your hands up to the ceiling and lowering your hands. Inhale, exhale, hands together. Inhale, hands up. Breathing out, roll down. Hands either side of your feet. Step or slide your left foot back, left knee on the ground. Right foot back. Dipping your back. Cat. Looking up or along the mat. Rounding your back, chin to chest, tucking your toes and coming into a soft dog. Walk the dog, feel free to adjust your feet to slightly wider, to hips width apart. Bend one knee and then the other knee. Straighten your legs. And then bend both knees back down to the ground. Hands to the right, left foot comes up, hands either side of the left foot. Kneel up. Hands up, stretch your fingers and look up. And breathing out, hands either side of your front foot. Tap your back toes, lift up your right leg, step your right foot to your left foot, press your feet into the ground as you roll up vertebra by vertebra. Hands up, breathing out, lower your hands. Inhale, exhale, hands together. Inhale, hands up. Breathing out, lower your hands. Right foot back. Right knee on the ground, left foot. Kneeling, cat. As you inhale, cow, chin to chest. Tuck your toes, coming into a downward dog. Walk the dog. Bend both knees, kneeling. Hands to the left, right foot comes up, hands either side of the right foot. Kneel up, hands up, looking up, and breathing out, hands either side of the right foot. Tucking your back toes, lifting up your back left leg, left foot to right foot, rolling up as you press your feet into the ground. And hands up, lower your hands. Inhale, exhale, hands together. Inhale, hands up. Breathing, roll down. Left foot back, left knee on the ground. Right foot slides back, cat. Inhale as you dip your back. Exhale as you round your chin to chest, tuck your toes, coming into a downward dog. Walk the dog. Bend both knees back to the mat, hands to the right, space for the left foot to come up, hands either side of the left foot. Kneel up, hands up.
Look up if you can, otherwise look straight ahead, stretch your fingers. Breathing out, lower the hands, either side of the front left foot, tuck your right toes, lift up your right leg, step right foot to left foot, press your feet into the ground as you roll up vertebra by vertebra. Hands up, and breathing out, lower your hands. This next round is going to be faster and then we'll come to the mat. Hands together, breathe in, stretch up, breathe out, roll down. Step back, right foot, kneel, left foot, kneel. Dip back cat, breathing out round, coming into a downward dog. Knees to the ground, hands to the left, right foot up. Tuck your back left toes and then step your left foot to your right foot, press your feet down as you roll up. Stretch your arm up, breathing out. Inhale, exhale, hands together. Inhale, hands up and back. Roll down, left foot back, left knee on the ground, right knee goes back, dip your back. Cat, round chin to chest, tuck your toes. Dog, stretch back. Knees come back down to the ground, hands to the right, left foot comes up. Hands either side of the left foot. Lift up, kneel up, stretch up. Hands back down to the mat, tuck the right toes. Right foot to left foot, press your feet down as you roll up, stretch up. Hands to the heart. Open your palms and just let this movement settle into your body. Just subtly shift your weight from right to left foot to right foot. And notice where you tend to place your weight. And then you can include optionally slightly rocking forwards and backwards. And again, just note where your weight falls if you favour one side or the other. Your body's recovering from that movement that we've made. Hands together at the heart centre. And then roll down to come to the mat and lie on your back. And we'll start the practice at the base chakra, which is at the bottom of the tailbone. And as you lie down, just mentally bring your attention to the base of the spine, or even a little bit beyond there. This energy centre is called the Muladhara chakra, and it connects to the element of earth and our basic instinct of survival. Just breathe in and out, and then extend your right heel, which will stretch your right leg away from you and relax your right leg and right foot. Extend your left heel away from you and relax. Right heel extends, relax, and left heel. And right heel extends, and then your left heel extends. Raise your hands and clasp your head under your hands, and almost bring your elbows slightly towards one another, and just slightly slide from to the right, centre, and then to the left. So your chin is in towards your chest. You're just moving your head from side to side while you're supporting it under the head.
You're just gently moving the top of the spine there, but your neck and head are very supported by your hands. And then just release your head back down to the ground and release your hands back alongside you. Extend your right foot and raise your right hand up above you, resting it if that's comfortable on the ground, but you can have your right elbow bent. And breathe out, turn your head away from your right arm. Breathe in, come back to the centre. And breathe out, lower your right arm, but just release and relax your right leg out to the side. Engage your left leg by extending your left heel, and as you breathe in, raise your left arm up above you, stretching out behind you. And as you breathe out, turn your head to the right, away from your left arm. Inhale your head back to the centre, and breathing out, lower your left arm and release your left foot, relaxing. Once more, breathing in, stretch your right arm up, extend your right heel. Breathing out, turn your head away from your right arm towards the left. Inhale your head back to centre, and breathing out, lower your right arm and release and relax your right side. Inhale as you extend your left heel, raising your left arm, stretch your left arm above your head. Breathe out, turn your head towards the right. Breathe in, bring your head back to the centre. And breathing out, lower your arm back alongside you and just release and relax. This is very strange, but bring your feet slightly closer together. And if you don't actually bang your toes together, just have that action that you're bringing your big toes, your big toe bones together, they're touching and then they're just bouncing apart. This very strange action, and you can move quite fast, sets up a vibration from the base of the feet, travelling all the way up the body. And you'll find this very much in the Kundalini tradition of yoga. Just touching your big toes together and releasing and relaxing. And then just release and relax your feet out to the side. And then extend your heels away from you. Your toes go up to the ceiling on both feet. And point your toes away from you, stretching the top of the back of your foot. Inhaling, extending your heels, and then breathing out, pointing the big toes away from you. And last time, extending your heels and breathing out, pointing your toes away. And then begin to circle both ankles in one direction, breathing in as your toes go to the top of the ceiling and breathing out as your toes circle and point away from you. You can even let your big toes touch as you bring them towards the midline of your body. And then very gently rotate your feet in the other direction. And then finally finish by moving both feet towards the right, like windscreen wipers, feet centre and both feet to the left. So do that a couple of times, just swaying your feet from side to side in an invert-evert movement. Bring your feet back to the centre and then just stretch your toes out, stretching out under the base of the toe, where the toes join the foot and that connects into your lungs, lung meridians. And release and relax your toes. Keep your elbows where they are and just raise your hands up towards the ceiling. And here, stretch your fingers out and then just bend and curl your fingers in. Inhaling, stretch your fingers out. And breathing out, curl your fingers in. And inhaling, stretch your fingers out. And just release, relax. Either relaxing your fingers or just actively curling them in. And then just begin to circle your wrists in one direction. Breathing in as the fingers go upwards, and then breathing out as the fingers move away from you. And then just reverse your movement, circling your hands in the opposite direction. And now you might need to lift your elbows. Just bring the lower wrists, almost as if you're spraying perfume and you're just rubbing your wrists together. Just rub along your wrists. It's opening up in the carpal tunnel syndrome. You can actually rotate your hands so that the backs of the hands come together, and then you're rubbing your wrists, thumbs together, backs of the hands coming through, opening up like a book, and then backs of the hands. And then release, just stretch your fingers out, and then just release your hands back down by your side. And then leaving your right leg where it is, hug your left knee in towards your chest. You can also bend your right knee if this is easier for you. Place your right foot on the floor. Hugging the left knee into the chest. Just notice the stretch along the back of your body. And then, still hugging the left knee into the chest, just roll completely to the right. Your left hip will lift, and you can look up at the ceiling or look slightly to the left over your left shoulder. So we're just subtly moving. We're still around the base of the spine, but here we're just subtly moving a little bit further up, almost into the lower abdominal area. And when you look, if you look up towards the ceiling, you're exercising one set of muscles. If you turn your head a little bit further and look along the floor, that's another thing altogether. So it's a choice. Choose where you feel you want to cast your gaze or keep your eyes closed. Roll back onto your back. Hug your left knee into your chest. And then slide your left leg away from you. And then you might want to adjust as you've moved, just rocking from side to side as you pick your right leg up, hugging your right knee into your chest. Just enjoy the stretch. And then roll with your right knee hugged in completely over towards the left. Your right hip will lift. Your left hand can rest somewhere on the thigh, and your right hand can rest on your right waist. And either close your eyes, look up to the ceiling, or just turn your head further to the right and look along beyond the right shoulder. So then a rotation, which this is at the lower abdominal level, any rotation is rebalancing for the spine. But the degree of rotation, of course, varies with each one of us. And there are different rotations aimed at different parts of the spine, but this is the lower part that we're focusing on. And then roll back onto your back. Hug your right knee in and then hug your left knee in, so that you're hugging both knees into your chest. And just very gently rock from side to side. Check that your chin is what I call, the back of your neck is long, but your chin's not shooting up to the ceiling. And then lowering your right foot down to the ground, keeping your left knee bent, open your left knee out to the left, and place your left ankle on your right leg. So this is opening the inner groin area. If you want to increase this stretch, although you can stay where you are,
Lift your right foot off the ground and slide your hands underneath your right thigh. Keep checking that your chin doesn't shoot up to the ceiling. Keep consciously bringing it down. You can lift your right knee even further and you'll feel this on the outer left hip. It's a very lower abdominal, it's the second lower chakra, abdominal energy, but it's a hip stretch. And if you've got plenty of room, you want to be stretched a bit further, then hold the front of your right knee, checking that your chin doesn't shoot up. And you'll feel that even more in your outer left hip. And then just bringing your right foot back down to the ground and supporting your left leg as you lift your left foot off. Just place your hands on your abdomen, feet are hip width apart, and just gently let the knees sway from side to side. And then keeping your left foot where it is, your knees come to the centre, pick up your right knee, hugging your right knee into the chest. Turn your right knee to the side, out to the right, place your right ankle on the left leg and opening out to the right. Your hands can rest on your abdomen, or you can then lift your left foot, place your hands through, clasping underneath your thighs, your left thigh, and then just lift your left knee in towards you, and you'll feel that on the outer right side of your body. The muscle that it's targeting, on where you can feel it on the right outside, is called the piriformis muscle, and the piriformis muscle is very implicated in lower back issues, so it's quite good to stretch that. And if you want a further stretch or a challenge, you can clasp the front of your left knee, checking that your chin doesn't shoot up to the ceiling. If it does, then either adjust or just come back to where you were. And then just release your left foot back down to the ground, and take your right foot off. Feet on the ground, knees up, hands on your abdomen, and just gently sway from side to side. And then hug both knees into the chest. And you can, depends where your flexibility is, you can either just hold your shins opening out into what I call a lying Baddha Konasana, which is quite nice, just slightly rocking from side to side. Or if you want to take it a step further, and depending on your flexibility, you can hold your big toes with your second and third finger, thumbs on top of the toes, and stretch out into like an inner goddess pose, but that is quite stretchy, and just rock. Your legs are in a V from side to side, but stay in Baddha Konasana if that suits you. In this stretch that we're doing, if you you don't have to hold your big toes, you can hold your shins if you want to, or hold anywhere on your legs. That stretch that you feel on the inner leg is called the psoas muscle, which is part of your, it's very connected to emotional feelings, and one of which, when it's out of balance, would be fear. But for some reason, it's a muscle that can often not become lazy, but it can often not be activated properly, and this is one of many ways to be aware of that muscle, psoas muscle. And then hug your knees into your chest once more. Just gently rock from side to side. And taking your time to roll to one side, we're going to come to kneeling, back into cat and cow again. So we're just slightly moving up the body. Come to kneeling. And inhaling, dipping your back. Looking either up or along the mat. Breathing out, round chin to chest. Breathing in, dipping your back. and breathing out, rounding chin to chest.
And once more, dipping your back, breathing in.
And breathing out, rounding chin to chest.
Cat-cow is a way of warming up your spine. This time, bring your right hand slightly in front of you and then slightly to the centre of the mat. Bring your right knee forward. Slide your left leg back so that you're stretching out the back of your left leg. And then optionally you can turn your left foot is pressing into the ground. Your right foot can be toes tucked under or flat. The foot can be flat. And you can just turn stretching along the side, and then you can additionally just stretch it out. It's like a gate, not quite a gate pose, it's not called gate pose, but it's just a stretch along the side. And then breathing out, come back to kneeling in cat. Just rock your bottom from side to side. Rockabye baby. And then bring your left hand slightly forward, more to the centre of the mat. Your left knee slides slightly forward, which allows you to slide your right leg back and come onto the side. Your right foot is on the floor. Right hand goes on the waist, you're lengthening along the side of the body, and then extending the hand up optionally. If you don't want to do that, you can keep your hand on the waist, it opens up. If you want to take it a stage further, you can lift up your right leg, extending the heel. And if you want to take it a stage further again, you can bend your right leg and catch on your right ankle, just bringing your leg behind you. A sort of, I guess, a variation or modification of dancer's pose, but very much supported on the ground. And then releasing gently back to cat again. Just once more rocking your bottom from side to side. And now imagine your bottom like an 8, figure of 8, the vertical 8. Just make the figure of 8 with your bottom swirling the energy around the lower abdominal level. And then perhaps reverse your 8. And then begin to tuck your toes, bringing your hands back and coming up into downward dog. Bend your knees and then extend your legs. You'll adjust your feet hip width apart. Just enjoy this downward dog. Bend both knees and extend them. Bend both knees and extend them. And then begin to walk your feet to your hands and your hands to your feet, taking your time to roll up very, very gently, vertebra by vertebra, to standing. And coming up to standing, take a moment to adjust your, almost your balance, your posture to a standing posture now. Step with your feet apart in a triangle, and I might turn my back to you and then you can see where I'm going. So I'm going to turn my right foot out, my left foot turns in to an angle of 45 degrees. And if I look down, in an ideal world, my front right heel, if I drew a line from the back of the heel to the left foot, that line should intersect in the middle of the back left arch. The aim of this also is to keep your left foot engaged, that you're not lifting up your left outer heel, which is easier said than done. If you find that you are, then one way to correct that is to bring your feet closer together. There are many variation options here. Sometimes, depending on your hip set, you can turn your big toe very fractionally inwards to secure your balance, but just to feel comfortable.
And then raise your arms up at shoulder length, higher, and then just lower them to shoulder length. I'm going to lean to the right, drop my right hand to my right shin, and then turn to place my left hand on my left waist. My chin tucks into my chest. So this is a variation of triangle. Slide your right hand down your right shin as much as you need to. And then there's an optional extra, of course, to come into classic triangle by raising the left hand either straight up, or you can do a Dhyana Mudra. You don't have to look up and tuck your chin into your chest. You can look straight ahead, or you can actually look down at your right foot if that's easier for your neck. To come out of this, soften your right knee, slide your hands up your shin, come back to arms out at shoulder length, and bring your feet now parallel to one another, and then turn your right toe in, your left toes go out, securing your back foot now, which is your right foot, securing it by pressing down the right outer ankle, outer heel. Extend forwards left over your left shin, and just let your left hand go to your left shin. Bend your right elbow and just open out. Feel that your right shoulder is open, sliding your left hand down your shin. Chin tucks into the chest, and choose your gaze. You can be looking up, your chin tucks in, looking straight ahead, or looking at your left foot. Your left big toe can turn in slightly as an option. And you can stay with your hand on your waist, or if you really want to go to the triangle, and raise your right hand upwards. And feel, even here, that you're lengthening along your spine, so your chest is lifting. And then bring your lower abdomen towards your spine to secure you, and slide your hands up, coming back out into triangle. Then lower your hands and bring your feet parallel. And just lift and roll your shoulders. And I'm going to turn around, so I'm now facing you. Just gently sway from side to side. And then once more, your feet are already in a part step, they're already partly stepped out, but you can once more step out a little bit further. And your right foot turns out, as we did before with triangle, your left foot turns in. Here also, if you feel that your weight is, or your balance is wobbling, you always have the option of taking your front outer foot slightly out towards the edge of the mat. Your back foot turns in at an angle of about 45 degrees. And again, if you feel that you're unstable, you can always bring your back foot in slightly. And the aim of here is again to secure your outer back left heel into the ground, not lifted up so much. So feel that you adjust your feet where you want to. And this is a warrior. So you're softening your front right knee and turning your head to look beyond the third finger of your right hand. This, unbelievably, all the warriors are back bends, so they are mood lifting, enhancing. They're lifting you up from the chest. They're giving space for your organs, and they're very strengthening. So the warrior poses, Virabhadrasana, as the name suggests, is you're keeping your space. It's a warrior type stance. It's very strengthening and connecting to the earth. And then release your back hand behind. Raise your right hand up, straighten slightly your right leg and look at your right thumb. And then lower your right hand down by your side. Bring your feet parallel and then turn your right foot inwards, your 45 degrees. Turn your left foot out. Find an adjustment and come once more back to your warrior, softening your front left leg and looking over your front left hand beyond your third fingers. And again, you're also stretching out your lungs here. Just turn your palms and face upwards and see how far, what flexibility you've got. And then turn your hands back down again. And then dropping your right hand now towards your back right leg and straightening slightly your left leg as you look up towards your left thumb. As you lift your eyes, you're disconnecting the eyes from the stress centres of the brain. So lifting your eyes up is very stress releasing. And then just lower your hand, your left hand back down along your side. Turn your feet parallel and perhaps bring your feet slightly closer together by heel-toeing slightly, heels out and toes in. And then soften your knees and slide your hands down to where you feel comfortable. It's a slight forward bend. If your hands reach the ground, then by all means place your hands on the ground, softening your knees as much as you need to. It's a counter pose to the movement that we've just made. Take a couple of breaths here, and then soften your knees as you bring your hands to the shins, walking your hands up, vertebra by vertebra, standing again. Bring your heels in towards each other, then your toes, heel toeing, and then when you feel ready, bring your feet together and lift and roll your shoulders. So the purpose of the balance is to enhance your concentration, because you can't do much else, but it also encourages the left and the right brain hemispheres to communicate with one another. So a very easy balance is to clasp your hands together, reverse your palms up, enjoy the stretch, and when you're ready, lift your heels. Still with your heels lifted, try putting your heels back down to the ground, but keeping them off the ground by a millimetre, so that the weight is going into the heels, but they're still off the ground. And then just bring your heels back to the ground and lower your hands. So many balances. You don't have to feel that you have to have perfect balance at all. The tree and variations of the tree can be as simple as I'm going to lift my right foot, keeping my right toes on the ground, turning my right leg out and resting my right heel against my left ankle almost. And that's a tree. So you can lift your right foot up so that the big toe is on the ground. You can lift up further. You can hold on, which is perfectly acceptable, and just lift your foot up further. One of the things that is quite difficult, I'm not sure that I'm demonstrating this properly, but when people lift their leg up, you sometimes find that the standing leg bows outwards, which is putting tremendous pressure on the hip. So if you find that you're doing that, or you can notice that you are doing that, then perhaps just slide your legs down a little bit further so you're not putting such weight and bowing out to the side, because that's putting undue pressure on the hip area. And so there are many variations, and with the hand variations as well. You can have your hands at the heart, you can have your hands out, fingers to thumbs, you can have your hands above you. There are many, many variations. The natural tendency for a balance is to come inwards, but of course it's lifting from the chest that secures the balance. But I'm saying this to you, I'm not the world's greatest balancer, but it's quite interesting. And I can see you're all balancing beautifully there. And come out of that when you're ready, and then change over to the other side. And of course, the next step on from that is, if you optionally, and you're still able to hold on, is to lift up the back leg and stretch out behind you like a dancer's pose, which I might demonstrate, and coming forward. So here, again, it's very important when you lift your back leg behind you that you're not bowing out to the side, that it goes back true, and you should feel that stretch on the top of the legs, which reflect, again, part of your immune system, because in this big bone here is where a lot of lymph is manufactured, white blood cells is manufactured in the bone marrow. So you've got that option as well. And please do just enjoy stretching and your balance. But there are so many variations available, and always the option to hold on, because if you're wobbling, then you're not going to get the benefit of the pose by not taking support. But well done. And then just once more, slide from side to side. So the warrior Virabhadrasana poses also work on the heart because you're lifting at the chest centre. And the heart is viewed as so important in yoga that you'll have certain sequences and traditions honouring the heart in various ways. And this particular sequence does. So coming to the centre, hands together at the heart, just setting your pose, and then rolling down, and coming to lie on your front. So this, again, there are many variations here, and this is all viewed as movement at the heart area, so you're lifting up from the chest. We're going to do the simplest, or one of the simpler movements, by leaning up on our elbows, which becomes Sphinx pose. So have your feet comfortably apart, and your heels can just relax outwards as you're finding your posture. And the closer you bring your elbows in towards you, the more of an angle you'll have on your lower back. And the further you slide your elbows away from you, the lower you come to the ground, and the lesser the angle is on your lower back. So find a comfortable position, your hands are palms down, your elbows are supposed to be in and straight, but you can vary it by having your elbows out slightly. And just look along the floor as you take a couple of breaths. You can feel the lift as your abdomen is supported along the mat and you're lifting up from your chest. So there is the beautiful aesthetics, visual image of the pose, and then there's the function of the pose, what it actually does to you. So on the function of the pose, the Sphinx pose, like Cobra, is uplifting. It's moving the back in a slightly back bend way. It's extending up from the chest. It's uplifting mood-wise. It's one of the back movements for balancing the back overall. If you want to explore some variations, you can tuck your right toes underneath you. Your right heel will go to the ceiling. Lift your right leg off the floor and extend your right heel back away from you. And you'll feel an opening in your front of your hip. And then just release the right leg back down to the ground. Let the right heel flop out and wobble your bottom from side to side. Becomes jelly wobble. Your head can look up or it can look along the mat. It's sometimes quite restful to keep your head and neck, your head down and your neck lengthened. And then tuck your left toes underneath. You're stretching the lung meridian as the toes join the foot. Extend the left heel back away from you and lift up your left leg, extending your left heel. And feel the stretch in the front of your left hip. And then just release everything, your leg down to the ground, let your heel flop out and wobble your bottom from side to side. And now slide your elbows out, which lowers you. Place your hands one on top of the other, and then place your forehead on your backs of your hands. You can turn your head to the side, either side. You might like to enjoy opening your knees a little bit further as you then bend your feet up towards the ceiling and just sway your feet from side to side in a windscreen wiper movement. It's quite relaxing. You can just sway the feet in from one side to the other. The movement can be small, it can be larger. And then very gently you can circle your ankles again in one direction and then circle your ankles in the other direction, stretching your feet again. And then lower your feet back to the ground and bring your knees slightly closer together. Slide your elbows out from underneath you, hands or palms down, elbows up, elbows in. You classically would press down with your hands and come into child's pose, but you can, if you want to make it even softer, roll to the side and bend your knees up. But however you want to get there,
Press your hands down and come into your variation of child's pose. So your bottom doesn't have to go completely to the heels. You can stretch your hands out, or you can come to classic child, where you have your hands upturned behind you. So classically, this is child, almost like a tortoise look, your head on the ground or resting on a bolster. But these days, quite often, child is like extended swan to me, your hands are out in front of you. And you're just calming, it's calming for the nervous system, your head forward. If you find that your head too low is not good for you, then make fists with your hands and rest your forehead on your fists of hands so that your back of your neck is long. And this can be quite restful, both for the heart, but it can also be restful that your head's not too far down. So it's a modified forward bend, it might be softer, and that's fine. Your back is stretched, the vertebrae has space between the vertebrae in this position, which encourages the breath into the back of the body. If you want to, if you're feeling squashed, you can have your knees wider apart than perhaps normal, just to give space. And just come into a very calming. If you'll find that your breath starts to slow down, and you'll find also that, as I said, it's calming for the nervous system. And then just release and come to kneel up, place your bottom to the side, and come into what I call cobbler's pose. So it's the soles of the feet together. How far you bring your feet in or how far they are away from you is up to you. The further your feet are away from you, then the softer it is on your hips, that you can bring your feet in more. Soles of your feet are aimed together, they can touch each other if that works for you. And your hands classically would be in front of your big toes, but you can move your hands back so that the thumbs are massaging the insides of your soles of your feet. And then you can slide your hands back to your ankles. You can slide your hands up to your shins. Sit wherever you're comfortable. And the purpose of this is very much for hip health. Interestingly, for me anyway, in anyone who has cancer, you'll find that people sit very supported against the wall with cushions underneath their thighs to open not just here at the lower abdominal level, but you'll see lots of people with pillows above them. They're opened under the arms and supported behind the head. And you can stay like that for ages. And actually Iyengar, who's one of the yoga schools, they have that classically for cancer treatment for anybody. It boosts the immune system. And they have them doing just that. But you probably need support here, because just to hold your legs, because it can just be slightly achy sometimes to have your inner thighs open. And then sliding your hands underneath your thighs to open your legs in a V. Just take the flesh out from under your bottom. It's a wide leg forward bend. Just slide your hands down your legs as far as they want to go. You might stop below your knees, you might stop at your shins, you might stop at your ankles, you might stop on the backs of your feet. You might be able to hold the outside edges of your toes, of your feet. Or you might want to hold your big toes. Again, this is a very gentle forward bend, which is calming for the nervous system. Just take a couple of breaths here. If you don't want to come down slow, then just slide your hands further along your legs so that you're slightly higher up. You've still got that forward movement. And then gradually slide your hands up so that you come upright and bend your right knee in so that the right sole of the foot is facing towards the left inner leg. Just touch your hands either side of your hips to breathe in and lengthen your spine. And then turn towards the outstretched left leg. Your left heel is extended, your toes are up to the ceiling.
raise your hands up, and depending on your back capacity, just bend your elbows or just come straight forward, sliding your hands down your left shin to where knee is good for you. And again, you're able, if you've got the length, you can hold your left foot either side, or you can, if you were very flexible, you would bend your left hand, the left wrist, put the back of the hand underneath your foot, and then just hold with your right hand on top of the left. I'm not really doing it properly. It's quite a stretch on the lower back. On a muscle called the quadratus lumborum running here, which also is good to stretch. So wherever your hands go is good. Sliding your hands up your leg, hug your right knee into your chest, and then sliding out your right leg, you're in a V again. Just bounce your legs just to get that vibrational aspect moving, and sliding your left leg towards your right leg, sole of the foot facing the right leg. You can always have support underneath the bent leg at the thigh level. Turn towards the right side, just hands either side to lengthen you upwards, raising your hands up, and depending on your back capacity, you can either come straight over or bend your elbows and just slide down. Breathing in and out. Calming for the nervous system. It's a rotation, and it opens the hip, in this case on the left side, the inner left hip. Breathing in and breathing out. Your right toes should be extended up towards the ceiling, so you engage either side of your right leg. It's easy to let the right leg flop. And then very gently slide your hands up. Take your hand underneath your left leg, hug your left knee towards your chest. Slide your legs out. And then come to lie on your back, hugging your knees into your chest. Feel that you can make whatever adjustment you'd like. Your feet should be hip width apart, but you're welcome to have your feet slightly wider. Chin slightly into the chest. And just gently let both your hands can be resting on your abdomen, elbows out, or you can have your hands, arms out like a T. You can even have your hands above you. I'm going to rest my hands on my abdomen as I let both my knees gently sway to flop down to the right. My left hip lifts off the ground. And I can optionally turn my head away from the direction of my knees and just stay here for a couple of breaths. And then bring both knees upright, come back to the centre, and slowly let both knees drift over to the left. So your right hip lifts off the ground. Breathing in and breathing out. And then very gently bring your knees back to the centre. And so your head is back to the centre, your knees are back to the centre. And then you can either stay here with your knees bent. You can widen your feet so that your knees touch, which is constructive rest. Or you can release and relax your legs out along the ground in resting in Shavasana. And we'll once more touch on the energy centres of the body as they run along the inside of the spine. So once more, bring your attention to the base of your spine. The Muladhara chakra connects with the element of earth and with our basic survival instinct. Breathing in and out of this energy centre. And in your mind's eye, just move up a little bit further along the inside of the spine to the abdominal, lower abdominal level, connecting to the element of water. This connects to our kidneys and our adrenals sitting on top of the kidneys and connects very much into stress. In balance, there is the element of joy when the energy runs smoothly, and out of balance it can tend towards fear. And it's water, the colour in many systems, but in this particular system would be orange. And then moving up in your mind's eye a little bit further along the inside of the spine to behind the navel. The colour in this system would be yellow, connecting to the digestive system, our digestive enzymes. Classically, to activate this energy, you would focus on rotations or twists. And then moving a little bit further along the spine up to behind the heart. This connects to the element of air. And the heart, of course, is complex. It has been recently reclassified as a gland as well in its own right, because it manufactures, my understanding is, aspects of dopamine, which is the feel-good factor. But of course, heart is connected with love, compassion, and the colours are green or pink in this system, and linked to the sense of touch, of course the element of air, and connect to our hands as well. And we looked at uplifting movements, so the warrior, the Vajrasana movements in yoga, but also lying on our fronts in variations of Sphinx, for instance. And then just very gently letting your mind drift along the inside of the spine and come to the complex neck area. The neck connects to the element of ether. And in our glandular system connects to the thyroid and the parathyroid. Now the thyroid also connects to the adrenals. So anybody who's stressed out and exhausted with exhausted adrenals can, depending on their disposition or predisposition, have autoimmune issues that connect through to the thyroid. And the colour of blue, the throat area, connects of course to our respiratory system, but also quite closely linked to our heart. And it's the centre for speaking our truth. All our energy, everything about us, all our commands and nerves, but all has to pass through the neck, from the brain to the body, and the messages going back go via through the neck. And then bring your attention to your forehead, behind your forehead, your third eye, as it's sometimes called, and it connects into particularly your pineal, but also your pituitary gland, and they are also, like the thyroid and parathyroid, part of our metabolic control. In fact, they're probably more part of the master metabolic control. And just imagine the energy moving around your head, the third eye level, circling around your head. It's the element, as with the throat and the energy point above this, so they're all connected to the element of ether. So the most refined element. And the third eye is connected to the centre of knowledge and intuition. Obviously connects into part of our brain. And then finally bring your attention to the top of the head. This is what connects you to the outside world, where we pick up vibrations, radio, sound waves. It's connecting us to the outside world. And once more, think of the element of ether. And the colour could be white, uniting all colours, but also it can be a gold or a silvery colour. And just imagine bathing yourself in a white, goldy, silver light, almost wrapping you inside and out and conferring protection on you for the day ahead. And you can use this moment to think of a wish for yourself or for anyone you know, to wish you or them a lovely day or a happy thought. And just mentally think that and repeat that to yourself. And then take a moment to connect to where you're lying on the mat, the parts of your body that connect to your mat, and become conscious of where you are. Now you can either stay here relaxing and just drifting off if you're comfortable, or you can join me to gradually move fingers and toes and hug your knees into your chest. There's an option. As I do, please stay if you'd like to, relaxing, to finish the class and come to a seated position. But wherever you are, seated or lying, mentally take a bow for yourself to have a lovely day ahead. And thank you everyone very much for joining me today. Namaste.